question many people, and myself included, have wondered was why and how Salmon Run became what it is today, and why wasn't it in Splatoon 1? Salmon Run is one of the main reasons, especially for some people, why they got Splatoon 2 in the first place. We know Salmon Run has changed since its integration, so it could never have been a fully thought out of an idea. So let's go back and read an interview with Nogami. I'll give my 2 cents on it afterwards, and what it could mean for the future of Splatoon and Splatoon 3. Another Salmon Run was a part of Splatoon's early prototype phase that didn't make it in until now. As soon as we knew Splatoon 2 was going to be coming out on Nintendo Switch, we immediately started thinking about the fact that it's a console you can play at home, docked in front of a television, but you can also take with you on the go. We felt that this dual-purpose console concept was something that fit well with the activity that you were already doing in Splatoon. At home in front of your TV, you're working on your online play, and then you can also take the game with you, gather some friends, and continue that multiplayer experience in a local setting. We also wanted to give people who were getting together locally another option, another mode with a smaller number of players than the usual 8-player multiplayer experience. And that is sort of when we came up with Salmon Run. Our idea was that as few as 2 people could get together, and without having to worry about battling a larger number of people, cooperate together and have a goal that they were going to try and achieve. This wasn't an idea that was really there during our development of Splatoon 1. It was more something we landed on when thinking about Splatoon 2. We actually tried a variety of different experiments with this before we landed on Salmon Run Concept. Actually, now I think of it, one of those we tried was during the development of Splatoon 1. In our development of the game, once we had established the multiplayer concept we wanted to do, we knew that we wanted to give a single player experience as well. This ended up becoming the campaign that you eventually played, but was actually just an idea that was among all of these experiments we did. Another one of those experiments was a single player experience where the goal was trying to defend something from an oncoming wave of enemies. So while that original single player defense experiment didn't survive now, the first game's single player campaign, we can still see the elements of it reimagined as a co-op experience in Salmon Run. On designing Salmon Run without requiring voice chat? Well, you know, we've tried to design a mode in such a way that even in an online setting, it wouldn't be necessary to have voice chat. To compensate, we've added a series of signals for players to need to send each other to indicate locations of enemies. For example, as soon as the boss salmon appears, whoever's closest should start banging on that "come on" button to call everybody over to defeat it quickly. If you get taken down, that command will change to help, and you hit that, and the players can see your location, and they know that you need to come back and hit you up. I think it's important to underline that we've made Salmon Run a mode where direct communication isn't necessary. However, for those teams that want to challenge to the higher difficulty of levels, or people who are already friends or know each other, voice chat will be available. There are 2 ways to match up and play Salmon Run online. One is where you just play by yourself and you jump in and you be placed with 3 other random players. The other way is to group with them, either one friend to make a pair, or 3 people to make a group ahead of time, and then go in and challenge the mode. Of course, that means if you go in as 2 or 3 players, the remaining players will be made up of people you don't know, whatever the size of the group, 2, 3, or 4. If your group is friends, you'll be able to use voice chat, but you won't be able to use voice chat with the remaining players who aren't part of your friend group. The first idea for a mode like Salmon Run was for small groups of people to try to be able to play together and not worry about getting cranked on by 90s, and so they could play a single player aspect of the game, but online. Sato later goes on to say that Salmon Run was not initially thought about until new things for Splatoon 2 were brought up. However, when first developing different modes for Splatoon 1, they experimented with many concepts, one of which would later be known as Salmon Run, although after the main multiplayer was established, they looked toward a different mode that could incorporate single player aspects. This would eventually become a single player campaign, although another thing they tested was a single player experience, where the goal is to defend something from oncoming waves of enemies. Obviously none of that's survived today, but a lot of those aspects still remain in Salmon Run. Now these different concepts may sound similar, but that's probably because they are. However, they did imagine a less cooperative, smaller style of waves, but possibly infinite in design. This would be more like a zombies in Call of Duty today. They also did talk about voice chat and how Salmon Run was initially designed with voice chat in mind, but we all know playing with randoms usually ends with you losing multiple brain cells and deranking. We now know the possibilities for Splatoon 3 could be new modes we have not seen before, because we have seen the amount of testing and changes that the original tofu blocks from Splatoon have gone through just to get to the base Splatoon 1 that we see today. There are definitely more tested modes as the game is very active as a whole, not just the community, but the updates and patch notes too. However, it's still possible that Salmon Run is not in Splatoon 3. Now just to note, we have seen some spooky things when it comes to Salmon Run, like the time schedule that initially when it opened had Salmon Run only open for a few days, and then it was off for like about a week. And not many people like that. And why would you? I mean, like, if you want to play it, like, let's play it. Why is it closed the majority of the time? Obviously changed, but some of that closed area schedule is still there nonetheless. But if Salmon Run is not in Splatoon 3, it will most likely be due to some story changed, or it will be replaced by something else. Now, referring back to the Chaos v Order Splatfest cover picture, the Salmonids were on the side of the Chaos, which won, so it's still possible that if Order won, we might not have gotten Salmon Run in Splatoon 3 to begin with. But I don't know. Sorry to go off here on track, but you know I like talking about this stuff. But it is interesting to speculate why Mr. Grizz is in the center of the picture, because he has no business in Splatfest or any online matches. Because somehow, either way the result goes, he will get what he wants from the conflict. Only time will tell what will happen. But what will be more interesting to see, just to come back to the topic here, is that since Grizz got what he wanted from the conflict, his story of him or his desires will replace or rework Salmon Run into another type of mode. Hopefully better if it is replaced. Another idea for one experimental game concept could be similar to what I discussed in another Splatoon 3 video, which was the Mako missions, where Grizz hopefully morphs Salmon Run into where the player in either solo or with teammates would go out and fight a boss similar to Monster Hunter Dauntless, but with Splatoon 3 vibes, so they're fighting bosses and everything's kind of cool. Less waves, but it's just a little different. But you know, it's still kind of got that single player boss fighting, but you're doing it with teammates, so it's still pretty cool and pretty fun. Now, any of this could happen in Splatoon 3, but we will only see, and we'll have to see, when the game initially comes out in about a year. I'm cheesed. But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me what you think down below. Will we have Salmon Run in Splatoon 3? I ran a poll like a month ago, and like 75% of you said that Splatoon 3 is probably not going to be, we'll probably not have Salmon Run in it. So I mean, I don't know, that would kind of suck. I mean, it's a great mode. You know, I think they should add something else and keep Salmon Run. Like, it's great. Everybody loves it. You know, something a little different from the multiplayer. Tell me what you guys think down below. I think this could be very interesting, and Splatoon 3 is still going to be a great game nonetheless. There's going to be some gripes with it, but we'll just have to see. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. And hey, if you're watching till the end, thanks for watching. But if you're not subscribed, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you know, if you're watching till the end of the video, you should subscribe, especially because YouTube, like, unsubscribes people recently. So, like, maybe, you know, hit that sub just to make sure, you know. I don't know, YouTube's weird. Same thing with, like, the like button. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, don't blame me, just blame YouTube, you know. Like, just hit subscribe, because it probably unsubscribed you. I'll see you guys later in the next video. Peace!